Hi, I'm Rachel Whitefield, certified life coach, and with me is our resident, never the frenemy, always the friend, Jackie Black. Thank you for joining us on another fabulous episode of Whiskey Bent and
Spellbound with Black.
Whitefield.
All right, Rach, what are we drinking?
Oh, what are we drinking indeed, Jackie? I'm so glad you asked as ever. We're drinking a new podcast favorite, which is Catoctin Creek Roundstone Rye Whiskey. So you sent me this bottle. Mine is straight out of the freezer. I almost dropped it.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's a little
Thank goodness you didn't. That would
Oh
have
my
really
gosh.
ruined our day.
It absolutely would have ruined our day, but you know what has to happen before I pour this whiskey for the podcast.
Yeah, I really need to see these ice molds because
Yeah.
I need to buy some of this luster powder you've got. So let's see this.
You're gonna die.
I
Dun,
already know.
dun.
You were so excited when you told me about them.
They are skulls.
Oh,
And they are peppered or sprinkled with the fancy sprinkles, luster powder, and rose gold. Oh, they are so beautiful because it has like
these are badass.
they're so badass, and they're like metallic pink because of the luster powder. They are like beautiful Terminators. That's what they look like.
Yes.
Beautiful.
They do look like, yes. They look like Terminators.
Yeah. They're just so beautiful. And so I was like, oh my God, how did I live without it this way? So I will link them and the ice molds into the show notes from our Amazon list if our listeners would like to partake in the skull ice molds. They are like full cranium. It is a dense ice mold, and you know I love that. So
I am
ooh.
obsessed. I clearly need to get the luster powder. Does
Yeah.
it come in like a silvery color? Have you seen?
I am a fan of the pink, so I couldn't say. But this was when I bought the pink kit from Fancy Sprinkles.
Oh
So
man,
yeah.
those are amazing.
So it was because at first I was like, oh, I'm just buying glitter, but then I was like, luster powder? Let me see. Ooh, it's nice. So now I got my ice molds in my skull cup.
Okay. Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, it's just a regular cylindrical cup with a skull on it. But you know, who doesn't like a good theme?
I first of all, you love a good theme. I love a good skull death theme. Anything related.
Yeah, because my Halloween
Miss.
tree, the only ornaments I have were glittery skulls, and I've got a lot of sugar skulls around in my apartment. I do love a good skull.
Yes, as long as they're glittery and shimmery and beautiful.
Beautiful.
I'll always and forever call you the bougie goth girl.
Mm,
Now,
bougie goth girl. I'll take it.
love.
Shimmery.
That
Yes.
is stunning. We're shooting from the hip today, so I did not make any ice molds. I've got my regular old freezer ice.
Freezer ice
That's fine.
with glitter. I'm sure you do. You would never.
No, these I literally didn't have time. I was just shooting from the hip. I got back from my trip, shot from the hip. And I did not have these are my actual last 4 freezer cubes. So it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Sometimes I'm unprepared. Most of the time it's actually as I'm unprepared. So it's fine.
Believe it or not.
Most of the time I'm just flying by the seat of my pants. It's okay.
We're nothing if not honest here on the
That's
podcast.
true.
It's true.
That's true.
1,000%.
I know it's relatable.
So let me take a little sip of this Catoctin.
Indeed.
Yes.
Clinkies.
Clinkies.
Oh God, I love this whiskey. It's so good.
Chilled whiskey. Over.
I know you do love.
Yeah.
You do love your chilled whiskey.
Too.
All right, Rach, what are we talking about?
That's a good question today, Jackie. And we're going to talk about, I would say a subject of significance, because it is, let's see. I'm not going to say it's a serious episode, but it's something that needs to be addressed, I would say. And we're going to talk about friend breakups, because we're best friends. And precursor, don't worry, you guys. Jackie and I are still besties for the resties.
We are not breaking up.
Not breaking up, but we're going to talk about some situations that have happened in our life and how we feel about them or how I've felt about them or how they've affected us. Because I think a lot of the times it's easy to talk about maybe romantic breakup, but I think something that gets overlooked a lot of the time is a friend breakup and how heartbreaking that can truly be to a person.
Yeah, and how it can affect you in the long run.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, you
Mm.
go first.
Me go first. Let's see. I think I have two scenarios,
Okay.
of we can when we talk about friend breakups, this happened to me when I was living in Washington. I would say quite a few years ago as we do the millennial math of it. Ew.
Ah,
I'll say a couple years ago. Let's just leave it at that. But it was it was like a fight we got into, and then it's like there's this line of demarcation, and you are no longer friends.
ugh.
And then there's this other scenario that I think happens quite often that maybe I don't have a word to articulate, but it's kind of like when your friendship with someone just kind of dies on the vine, or people are with you for a season and then it's like, okay, we're no longer friends, but like how it doesn't have to be like a breakup per se, but then it's like, oh, we used to be so close, but then we're not, you know.
Right.
We could talk about
Both are hard.
both are hard, and I think they come with a certain type of acceptance that goes with it.
Mhm.
But let's talk about the first scenario of having like a fight with a friend and then to be like, we are not friends anymore.
Yeah. Tell me
But
about it.
um uh yeah, I again, like, I don't want to get into the necessarily like nitty gritty ins and outs, she said kind of thing, because that's not what this is about. It's more of like the scenario of how did you handle it? And I want to say, like, when it comes to the like in a situation, of course, I am only the best person I am at that time. Who I was in 2017 is not this elevated Rachel now. Looking back, I'm like, I could have handled that so much better. But again, I'm looking back with like 6 years of like hindsight.
Right.
So, um, I was struggling with conflict resolution at the time, but again, it's like, I still think I was right in my, side of it. And so it's just, but what came out of the blue and what I struggle with a friend breakup is that you ask anyone who knows me, it is I live and die by my female friendships. I love my female friendships so much. And it's like, it never occurs to me that when I am true friends with somebody, not friendly, but like friends, like to go to the mat for somebody, it doesn't even occur to me that that friendship could come to an end.
Yeah.
But when I think about romantic relationships, it's kind of like we know at some point, whether till death do us part or a divorce or what have you, or breakup, it's like I expect that a romantic relationship will come to an end at some point, like
Yeah.
could happen. But it doesn't even occur, especially at that time in my mind, of to have a friend break up, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Well, but when you guys went through your friend breakup, how long had you known each other?
I'd been in Washington for nearly 5 years. Yeah.
You knew her the whole time?
Yeah, practically the whole time. Yeah. We broke up. Our friend breakup happened like shortly before I moved away. So I would say good 3, 4 years. So this is not someone I've known for a couple months. It's someone I knew for years. And she
Yeah.
worked for me. But she was my nail client before that. And we were friends. And when I opened my new business, she was there helping me paint. She was there, like really supporting me. And her husband and her family. And so it was really, and then this is someone that I saw every day at work and talked to every day at work and valued their opinion. And so this is someone that I saw 45 hours a week.
Yeah, that's a close person.
Yeah, her desk was right behind me. Like we were like thick as thieves, is what you could say.
Yeah.
And so this is someone that I had a very close personal relationship with. And so um it was really, really difficult when we perhaps could not see eye to eye any longer. And when you kind of are going through, like, when it first happens, you're like, oh, no, we can make it through. Like, we could kind of figure this out. And then it's like, they're talking shit on you behind your back to people in your entrepreneurship community, and it's like, what happened? Why couldn't you
Yeah.
come to me first before it had to be this big blow up thing? Why
Yeah.
do people have to take sides? Why, and I want to say, um, when it comes to how I felt about this friend breakup, it was like it affected me emotionally worse than any like romantic breakup I had ever experienced. And when I say, looking back, I mean, my divorce happened a few years later, but you kind of saw this come, you kind of see that coming, however, this friend breakup I did not see coming. I felt totally blindsided by it. And then it's like I didn't know how to process that. It
Like
it
emotionally.
yeah, there was no yeah, emotionally. There was no like roadmap of like, okay, you'll heal. Because to me, I'm like, in my mind, it could never happen. Like I didn't even romance that scenario of like, what would happen if your friends broke up with you? I was like, this is no, what? No. Like my
Why
girlfriends
would
are
they do
always
that?
there. Yeah. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
even occur to me that could ever happen. So I really struggled with processing it. Like that friend breakup fucked me up in a way that my divorce didn't even. If I'm being very honest about it, like I had to go to the gym twice a day and spin an hour morning and night because just to get that like anxious, heartbroken energy out of me so
Mhm.
I could tolerate existing in my own skin and body. I hope people understand that of just like I was so overwhelmed with emotion of just being
Yeah.
heartbroken and hurt and angry in a way, and just of like, it didn't have to come to this. That the only way I knew how to deal with it was to just, I call it like burning it out of me. So then I
Yeah.
can kind of exist in another way to just have it not eat me alive.
Yeah.
And that is how I handled it because I didn't even have a roadmap or a thought that this could ever happen, you know? And so,
If
mhm.
if this happened to you today, I'm not saying with me, but like how would you work through that now in that same scenario?
That's a really great question. Um, I think I would be more like love forward and say, instead of like kind of this inner shell of like self-protection, of like just to be vulnerable, to be like, I love you and you mean a lot to me. And I would like to work through this and have not to have one little thing bring down the whole house. Can you meet me there on a playing field of, do you want, like, let's have the end game in sight, because I didn't have, at that time, I didn't have the end game in sight. I was just like, what the fuck's going on? Blah, blah, blah. And I was very being reactive and not proactive in the
For
friendship.
sure.
And so I would have been like, is our friendship still worth saving? Do you want to be friends with me? Yes. Okay, that is the goal. And now how can we get there? Can you meet me? And to know that I am meeting you here in good faith to say, hey, I want to move forward and be stronger from this, versus like one thing. It I don't want to feel like my friendships are built on a house of cards on the sand.
Yeah.
And honestly, it didn't ever feel that way.
Well, no wonder it was so blindsiding.
Yeah.
Man.
What about you? Have you've had a friend breakup in the past?
I've had one similar to yours actually
Mhm.
in the more distant past when I was also a military spouse.
Mhm.
The gist of it is that I had a dog, and he got really, really sick, and I was friends with these group of three girls, and they're all animal lovers to the point where one of them is a vet tech. I wasn't financially stable back then. I didn't have a ton of money. So
Mhm.
when the veterinarian said it's going to cost $8,000 to $10,000 to save your dog's life, my husband and I at the time made the very, very difficult, heartbreaking decision for our family to go ahead and put and here's the thing, they said it's going to cost that much and we can't guarantee to save him. Right.
Yeah.
I didn't want to put the dog through that. My husband and I talked it over for an hour, and he was like, I can't make the decision. And I was like, I have to, because I control everything, like financially. There's no way we can do this unless you can figure out where to get that money and you're willing to see this dog go through that. So long story short, we put the dog down, unfortunately. My poor baby.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to this, I had heard them talk about putting dogs down because one of them was a vet tech. And the liquid that they use, that they put into the animal's body, is pink. And I heard them use the phrase pink juice.
Okay.
So at the time I was like, listen, we had to give him the pink juice. I don't know what else to say. Like, it's been very, very hard. I heard them say it. I didn't think it was lacking emotion when I said it. They all took it that way. And there was 3 of them and 1 of me. So it was a group of 4 ladies. And they all disconnected completely from me, deleted me off all the social medias. One of them sent me a message like, I can't believe you. And then like nobody wanted to talk to me. I literally was like hysterically like, you know, when the sob is like, you're basically hyperventilating, and like for 3 days I was doing it, walking around the house. I like wailing because I did not know. I didn't even see it coming. Like, I just had to put my dog down, and you guys are doing this to me.
I was just gonna say
You
that.
guys can't be empathetic at all. Like, I just sent you what I heard you guys say.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard I never heard that phrase before in my life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I had sent this message to all 4 of them in a group text so that they could all see it all at once. And I had sent it to them a week later. And then I was reintegrated into the group like temporarily.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then one day they just all stopped talking to me. And it was like, maybe I was integrated back into the group for like a week and a half.
Mm-hmm.
I never got anything, like I never got an explanation for it. But when it happened, I reevaluated how important it was for me to even be their friends, because I was leaving, like we're getting ready to PCS, and like I'm going to make new friends anyways. It's never hard for me to find, you know, people to be friends with, or it never was. But I now looking back, I think this has affected how I make friends and how willing I am to give my friendship wholeheartedly to somebody. Because I'm very, very similar with like you. Like, my girlfriends are my sisters. They aren't just my friends. They become my sisters. That's my family. We have different parents, but that is my sibling in life. We chose to come to this lifetime together, and we know each other in this lifetime for a reason. So I am very cautious with who I give that friendship to now.
Mm-hmm.
And that has resulted in me breaking off friendships very quickly. As soon as I see a red flag, I'm done.
Yeah.
It has almost hardened my heart a little bit, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm afraid of that happening to me, how desperately devastated I was from this friend breakup, that I just, as soon as I see like a major red flag, I don't ignore it. I
Mm-hmm.
don't. It's just like, this person is not going to be my friend.
Yeah. I can't move forward with this. And the fact that no one supported you when you were going through, and first of all, let me just say, in our country, dogs are under the law treated as property and not a family member. So it's like there is no steps of the grieving process of like
No,
there's a wake and a funeral and like after and what have you, the viewing, kind of thing. So it's just like
I
we don't
think that
kind
might
of
change.
we
though,
don't
because our generation is
I
like,
hope so.
those are our children.
Children, yes.
Yeah.
But kind of or people who don't have a dog or whatnot, they may not understand that it's like I am grieving as greatly as I am a person. And then also
Yeah.
to leave you hanging of just like they just and three of them, three friends you lost at one time. It's like
Yeah.
they just like compounded that on top of you. And it's like that is something I lost one friend and I was going out of my goddamn mind
Yeah.
from like my heartache, let alone three to be ostracized and then to also have to deal with a grieving the loss of a family member as well. Like,
Yeah.
and again, who are they to say how someone goes through their grieving process?
Yeah,
Some
they were
people,
assuming that I was emotionless about it, and they don't know that I was
did,
hyperventilating to the vet tech that I had to tell, we can't afford this. We don't have a way to deal with this.
did they ask you like how you were doing with it? Like maybe that was the one moment you could even put yourself together to have that conversation.
That is a great question. And no, they didn't. In fact, they got mad at me because I didn't ask them for help before I made this decision, which
Help how? Financially?
I don't know. I never was able to discern what they meant by that. Like, are you guys going to pay for this? Like, we can't afford it. Like, and then I also am not emotionally capable of watching my dog suffer for something that they may or may not be able to heal,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So
Yeah.
they were like, you didn't even ask us. You didn't even tell us. You didn't even give us a chance. Not your family member.
Yeah.
That doesn't make
They
any sense to me. None of it made sense to me. I was blind. I was hit by a truck. And here's the thing. Before that day, I loved these women, loved them. I
Mhm.
thought these women are going to be in my life for a long time. I'm so glad because they're all so cool and so smart. And you know what I'm saying? Like, so empathetic. And like, I had all these expectations that these people were going to be there for me, and they were not.
Especially in the military spouse community.
Right?
All we
That's a
have is each
community.
other. A lot of
I
people
know
don't
that's right.
understand the situations we go through of being separated for months, of having to lean with each other. My best Navy wife friend when I was living in Washington, she was my in case of emergency person. I could not put my spouse on there. She was
Yeah.
my like if something happened to me, they'd call her and then she could get a hold of like my sister or my mom, but she was the local in-town contact, not my spouse, my best friend.
Right. Because
Yeah.
you don't, as a military spouse, we are our own family. We are our own community. Nobody else understands our life except for somebody military related, specifically like other military spouses. And then the children of military, they understand what it's like to be a military spouse because they see their parent go through it.
Yeah.
So like these are women that I have been, they all of our husbands worked together, all of them. We were all like, we were the group, we were the friend group. It was shocking to my
And
system.
and the fact if you're a husband at the time, they probably all struggle with that's painting with a broad brush, all struggle with the same sort of PTSD as well. So it's
Oh,
like
yes.
the
Oh,
same
yes.
similar marital problems as well. Like, yes, these are the people I lean on to get through it.
These are all, so they were all, yes, they were all dealing with the same PTSD because they were all sniper instructors.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. They all had the same issues.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one, and every single one of us related not only on that level but on multiple levels, being spouses for years. All of us
Mm-hmm.
were spouses for years, so we were like, new spouses would want to make friends with us because we were old hags in the Navy community, you know what I'm saying? Like, we had
Yeah.
done it before. We
Mm-hmm.
knew what it was like. We could give them advice, and that we were relied upon and leaned on by the command because of that, because of our experience. So it really drew us together, and I felt that camaraderie, that tightness, and for it to just be, it felt like it was just being ripped from me when it happened. And I just didn't understand it because I had never been through it before.
And then who do you have to talk to
Yeah. And at that time,
to
I
process
had
it?
I had nobody to talk to. Nobody. I just called my family. I called my mom, and like that's who I had. That's it.
In my situation, thank God for my bestie Lolo, the other military wife. And
Yeah.
we, because my husband was deployed and also like he's
Didn't
very
care.
solution focused. He's like, okay, that sucks for you. Like, move on. Thanks, bud. Thanks for the compassion and empathy of my broken heart.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's like my best friend Lolo, it's like we talked that situation into the ground until I was
Yeah.
exhausted about talking about it. Every little scenario you go down, but her being there was so invaluable to me
Mhm.
getting through a situation, to again to be able to lean on another friend
Mhm.
and to say like, man, and then for women, we kind of like go down these rabbit holes of like, what about this? And it's like we talked it out, and that is
Yeah.
how I could move forward
Yeah.
through it,
Yeah.
and to not let it like just sit and linger, like I don't want to talk about it, or that feels icky, or like ugh still. But it's like, no, I talked it out, and I was like, okay, I can finally put this to bed because I had someone else I could lean on that was also going, I mean, outside of the situation,
Mhm.
but like could, you know, talk me off the ledge, so to speak,
For
be
sure.
there with wine nights, whatnot. So
Mhm.
it just dealing with a betrayal hurts, like
Yeah.
an emotional betrayal. Like, of course, it's just friends, but it's like, I trusted you to be vulnerable, and it's like you threw it away.
Yep.
Or like you just showed me that everything I invested is now in the garbage, and I have nothing to show for the time I invested in my friend with you. And
Yeah.
it's really hard.
Well, luckily for me, I'm a Capricorn, so I think I cried about it for a week, and then I just started pretending they don't exist.
You're dead to me.
That's yeah, like no, I really like cut it. I was like, okay, I've done my I think that's my that's a downfall of mine, is that like I will if nothing is resolved, you know what I'm saying, pretty quickly, or if there's no path to resolve, I immediately am like, right, so I'm gonna just cut you and your memory out of my life.
Mhm.
And that's going to be the end of it. And then I really haven't they haven't really crossed my mind much since then, but I know that that affected me because I had a recent friend breakup.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. So I, as most of our listeners know, moved to a teeny tiny town, drove 3,000 miles to a teeny tiny town where I know nobody. And I was
The
really hoping to
whole
make
life.
a whole new life,
Mhm.
life pivot. I was really hoping to make some friends. So I was like, let me just get on Facebook Friends, because you can like do the dating site, but you can do it for just friends.
It's like Bumble BFF.
Yeah, same
Yeah.
exact idea.
Let's just make be friends.
And yeah, and I made a really cool friend. She was like, we like this and this and this. Like she, we had like a bunch of stuff in common, and we got together, and she just was the yin to my yang that I needed in town. You know what I'm saying? Like we hung out all the time. We planned to go, we went to concerts and stuff. But then she started judging me and my
And
own lifestyle.
you're very upfront with the way you live your life. Like,
I'm very unapologetic
oh
about it.
shit, you're just like, this is who I am. Like, and the fact is, when you were establishing your friendship, like,
I
she
put it out
could
there.
have said no thanks.
Yeah, she could have just not hung out with me. She didn't, but we
It didn't
did.
it didn't have to become kind of besties.
No, it did not have to become that. It didn't have to be a friend breakup, but I learned quickly how to spot those red flags
Ooh, yeah.
because I ignored the red flags in the other girls. I ignored them.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to accept well, I used to accept just people the way they are and forgive their flaws really, really quickly, as long as their heart is in the right place.
Yeah.
Now I have seen that sometimes, even if their heart's in the right place, their flaws are not going to mesh with my flaws.
But you don't have to put up with it.
I don't. And it's not something that I should, from a friend, like I shouldn't feel bad about myself, who I am and my choices,
Mm-hmm.
because a friend is judging me on them. And they often did judge me, but I always kind of let it go. The minute she judged me, I was like, I don't need this in my life. My friends, my true friends, do not judge me. They know who I am, they know what I'm about, and
Mm-hmm.
they don't let it affect them. So, like, she was very religious, okay, in like church religious. And if their viewers know anything about me, it's that I am not church religious. I believe it all.
Yeah.
I love it. Um, but she loved Jesus.
Nothing
And
wrong
she
with
was,
loving
there
Jesus.
was nothing wrong with loving Jesus. I personally love Jesus too. He sounds like a cool ass dude.
Yeah.
The real Jesus
The
sounds like
real
a cool
Jesus. The
ass
real,
dude, not
yeah.
the one they weaponize, the actual one from the Bible. That dude is okay in my book.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be talking to him all the damn time. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying?
Yep.
So I love that she had that relationship and she was like very honest and open about it. And she didn't mind that I was a little bit witchy and believed in everything kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? But she used her love for Jesus and weaponized it against me and talked about how she doesn't agree with my quote unquote lifestyle, and was like, I just don't agree with your lifestyle. It's just not how I was brought up. I don't know if I can handle it. It gives me anxiety, blah, blah, blah. So I straight up was like, I don't need that judgment in my life at all.
And that's
And
the thing. She's not around you. Perhaps I think she struggled with you dating as much as you do.
oh, yes. Yeah, that was
And
her big thing.
she's not on those dates with you.
She,
Like,
yeah, she's not on the dates. But she didn't want to hear about them. In fact, she said that she didn't want me to come over if I was going to go on a date after, which didn't make sense in my book because I was like, I'm prioritizing you though.
yeah. And she didn't even like that you would wear makeup around her.
Yeah, she would like, I would go over there and she'd be like, why are you all dressed up? And I'm like, I came to see
Right.
you.
Yeah.
Because last time I came to see you and I had all my makeup on, you were like, oh my God, you're so pretty. And
Because I
really,
love wearing makeup.
I love wearing makeup. And you know what? I don't wear it for dudes. I wear it for my girls to tell me how good my makeup looks, like
Yes.
girlfriend, you
Yes.
know? I don't do this for chicks. If, as a matter of fact, I saw a meme the other day, so I'm going to repeat it. If dudes didn't exist, I would dress sluttier,
Yes. And
period.
we know Rachel loves a good cat eye, and she is
And it is
at it.
sharp.
And I always say, in the world of Taylor Swift, what is it? Cat eye so sharp it can cut a man. I'm not going to be like, oh, this will slice you up, sister. No. Mm-mm.
No,
Mm-mm.
no.
I'm
But
not
I
going
know that
to
as
slice
soon
my
as a
girl.
girl's like, that cat eye is sharp, girl, you're
Mhm.
like,
Hey.
thank you. Stop.
Mhm.
Keep going. Stop.
Stop it some more.
Yes.
Yes.
So,
She didn't like your lifestyle choices and let you know about it after
well,
choosing to hang out with you for a significant amount of time to be friends.
yeah. And to me, I was just like, look, I'm never going to change who I am ever. So if this is what you're saying now, I will not. I refuse to go through that heartbreak later. I refuse to go through one more day of this friendship. If that's how you're going to be, if you're just going to judge me
Mhm.
because of my choices, that is not, I wouldn't do that to any of my friends. I don't judge you for your choices. As you say, I'll call you out on your bullshit,
Mhm.
but I'm never going to judge you. Not ever. I'm going to be like, what are you doing? I love it. Tell me the details kind of, like,
I'll go
but
put the
like,
kettle on. You spill the tea.
you spell it. So, but like, it didn't make sense to me. So I was like, you know what? I don't need this in my life. I'm not going to put myself through this heartbreak. I have friends, while they don't live close, you know what I'm saying? I
Mhm.
have them across the fucking nation. I have friends as far as Alaska that I could call for help and they would be on an airplane. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't judge me.
Mm.
Love me for all of my flaws, all of the, curves and edges kind of thing. They
Yeah.
just love me for all of it. And I love them back for that. What is the point of being friends with somebody who's going to judge you?
Exactly. And the fact that you would have to censor yourself with someone that you feel like you shouldn't have to censor yourself with. Again, the chemistry, I call it chemistry of the people you have relationships with, you
Yeah.
know, of just like why you choose to be friends, how we reconnected, all of it. It's like, we don't have to be friends. And some people you don't have chemistry with, but the people like that should be your safest place to be like, well, I can't talk about that with them. It's like, there is now this barrier and it's like we're not truly friends. We can't truly be honest and open with each other if I have to censor this thing that you don't like,
Yeah.
you know.
Do you feel
And
like your friendship with her and like that inevitable breakup has affected you with your friendships in any way?
um it was very unfortunate that it did break up, but again, like you said, I think I would be more apt to let someone know how important they are to me. Again, the
Yeah.
situation that transpired, I don't think it was salvageable. I
Right.
don't think they could have met me in good faith, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And I put that to bed. But how I love my friends and how deeply I will still go to bat for them has become even more fierce. I was talking to a mentor of mine kind of maybe a year afterwards, and I was like, man, like this friend breakup really like fucked me up in some kind of way. Like I was like, I thrive on my female friendships, like I love them so much. And she said, of course you do. Your dad died and your husband left you. Like, why this is what you have of
That
not,
is profound.
it blew my fucking mind, and it's still 6 years later is at the front of my brain always.
That that makes me want to cry. Like, no wonder I value my female friendships so hard. I've had no good male
They're the
relationships.
ones that shouldn't leave me.
Yeah.
They're the ones that are safe for me to invest all of myself into.
They're the return on investment. That's what
True.
they are.
That I was like, and what do we say, Jackie? We're like golden girls. We're gonna buy property together. We're gonna
Period. We're
retire
buying
together.
prop.
Like, and then
Exactly.
whenever we date someone, you're like, listen, motherfucker, I will be at the wedding. I don't know if you will be.
I've said that. I've said that to your
You
dude.
have. And so it's like, we know in my heart of hearts who's truly gonna be there
Mhm.
with me till the end.
Yep.
And that is my girlfriends. And
Yeah.
so it's very much like I almost invest more in my care and love of them to really cultivate better, stronger friendships. Because even when we went into business together, I was like, it's in the back of my mind that this has happened to me. So I'm not
Yeah.
going to be so naive to think it cannot happen to me. But
Yeah.
I think before we decided to like, let's start the LLC and really do this damn thing, I was like, we have to decide that we could go to mediation if we through a neutral third party to say, let's come to some sort of agreement. Like, let's not get so caught up in our emotions of like self-preservation or whatnot that we do know that our friendship comes first in our business.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I put that out very front. So it's more of like, I cover my ass that way of like, this is important. I'm not going to act like we aren't going to have conflict, but just know I love you and
Yeah.
I value you, and I don't think there's anything we can't work through if it
Word.
comes down to it. So I'm not going to go into this with rose colored glasses and say,
Yeah.
hey, no, it's like great and we're never going to fight or not see eye to eye on things. Like, that's life. You're not going to see eye to eye on things. We are very different people. However, if we
That's business
that's
too.
that's
Like,
just two people existing in the same space. But if we're going to be
exactly.
financially married, for lack of a better term, then we need to know, have safeguards in place for us to how to move forward together and have it be
Yeah.
healthy and have our relationship be healthier after the fact and not be built on sand, because that is not what I am doing with my female friendships. So maybe I am a little bit more wary, but almost it's like, okay, let's vet you a little bit better. However,
Yeah.
my love and how I invest in my friends and the love I pour into them is probably greater and not less.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish I could have like mended it, but at the same time, it's just like I am not willing to have somebody in my life where like I see those crazy red flags that I know I would never be able to work through and just like try to um put blinders on. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's with men and women with everything that I've been through. So it definitely is something that has taught me like so much. And I know what I value in friendships and I know what I'm not going to deal with. Like, it's not worth it.
Yeah, I think once you kind of go through that heartbreak, you're kind of like, ooh, this person is not, they don't, because me, I would say, oh, best friend. Every friend I have is my best friend. And that's
Right.
to cheapen the friends that I have. But I was like, what is it, Mindy Kaling? Like, best friendship is a tier. It
Oh, yeah.
it is you are best friend level tier, and and to me, I'm like, there's room for it all.
Yeah.
So, it's like, oh, you're my best friend. Jack's my best friend. Blah, blah, blah. All these people, I'm a doctor, best friend, like
Besties.
besties, best friends, of course, because I want us
Yeah.
all to be together all the time. Like, I do want to retire with a plot of land and we all have mini houses and we're so close and we could all drink wine together and have our dogs and
We
cats.
have our dogs and cats.
Yes.
Yes.
Real quick, when I was doing nails in Washington, there were these two retired women, and I loved them so much. I did both of their nails, but they didn't come in at the same time. But they just knew, like, hey, I think they're divorced or one was widowed or whatever. But they just bought a plot of land together, built a home, a split level master. They each got the exact same space, and they're just like, we're gonna retire and live. And I was like, yes, yes.
Yes. It's all I
And
want.
perhaps women have a little less in their retirement accounts. I know I had to start around, 35 when I got divorced and whatnot. I had to build my whole life over again. Like, and so it was like, hey, if we all pool our money, besties, we can have like a banging retirement. Like,
I
why
know that's
every
right.
girl you talk to is like golden girls? What is your ideal retirement? Golden girls. Because
Golden
we know our
girls.
men are going to die well before us. And it's like
If
golden
we even
girls.
have them, quite
It's
frankly.
true. Yes. I was like, and then that's the thing. Like, if you start dating someone else, I'd be like, you better buckle up with, you better be getting along with my friends because they
Yeah.
aren't going anywhere.
No, I know that's right. I
That's the
know
thing.
that's
Like,
right.
you better like them as well. And then one of my best friends here, she was dating a new guy and she's like, I'm gonna meet his friends. And she was kind of hoping to like maybe they'll like me and I'll get into their friend circle. And I said, listen, listen, listen. You are interviewing my new friend group.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me? Do you think they deserve to have Rachel in their lives? You're interviewing my new friend group. Do I want to hang out with them? This is what you're doing for me. You're doing the spy game. You're not asking, can I infiltrate them and will they like me? No, no, no. Nay, nay. You're
Nay,
saying,
nay.
do I want you in my life? I was like,
I
oh,
know. Yeah, I love that. I love that you said that because it's not wrong.
isn't that wrong?
It's
I'm like,
not.
you're interviewing my new friends. Do they get
Get
to
it
be in
together
our circle? Are
for
they?
real.
Yeah.
Are can they get through the gauntlet?
The gauntlet of our friendship. It's true. Yeah. And then, of course, the last one is kind of like friendship that perhaps, as I refer to it, like dies on the vine of like
Yeah.
maybe and the algorithm gods from Instagram sometimes just do bless me with what they send. And this morning I woke up to something that says, um, perhaps not everyone needs to be in your life the entire time. Maybe some people are just in your life for a season. And as you start leveling up and becoming who you're going to be, maybe this person can't join you there, but that doesn't mean you need to stop leveling up or becoming who you're going to be. And say thank you for your friendship. I appreciated and love the time we had together. But this is where now our paths will diverge in the woods, and just accept it and say, I send you nothing but love, but thank you. And then it goes on to different paths. You don't have to struggle to kind of stay together if that is where resistance is happening. And then it is now hard to be friends. It's like, I would rather look back and be like, I loved our time together and be
Yeah.
happy with that.
And then like not there doesn't need to be like a necessary like ending stopping point.
True. It can just kind of
It
like,
can move into acquaintancehood.
yeah, and that's okay too. And that's kind of what I'm telling myself right now and saying that's okay and accept and it's like that's okay too. Like it's fine. So it doesn't have to be this like hard breakup, but maybe a friend outgrowing of one another. And again,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with the other person or yourself. It's just like we just outgrew each other, I think.
And like, yeah, I've definitely been through that as well. Like obviously with those long-term friendships, I feel like especially when you move around in like the military spouse world, you do get these besties that you hang on to um for the rest of your life. And then you also have the ones that were super close to you when you were there. And then when you moved, they moved into acquaintancehood. And it's like as sad as it is, but it is something that I think everybody can relate to. It's just
I
not
think
as
so
heartbreaking as
too.
those girl breakups.
Yeah, because it's really easy to talk about how heartbreaking like a divorce or a true romantic
Mhm.
breakup is, but it's like also like, yeah, I know that's gonna happen, but when you're like, I can never break up with my friends, it's like, oh no. So
You can.
Jackie, do you have any takeaways or words of wisdom, advice for our listeners for anything you're reflecting on today?
You know what? Give your girlfriends those girl like those sisters, give your sisterhood
Hmm.
all of your love.
Hmm.
Know who your sisters are.
Hmm.
Know what those red flags are in other women that you can't cultivate that sisterhood with
Yeah.
and recognize them immediately. Don't put and like it's okay to like love other women like as a group, which I think we're big proponents of. We are girls,
Mm-hmm.
but that doesn't necessarily mean that they need to be in your close group.
Yeah, I can love someone and support someone from afar,
Yeah.
you know, 1,000%, because where I live my life is, and some of my takeaways is just like there is room for anybody. And we don't have room for frenemies. Like there's not going to be a
No.
competition here. There's room for everybody. And just because someone else is doing well does not mean that I'm not doing well. But as a
Yeah.
sidebar, it's like, even though we have had hard friend breakups, and I'm sure everyone has gone through it, but it's like it has not scared me away from loving my friends more. And I think you can have a learning experience to be like, I could have handled that better, but also like
Yeah.
to know in the future how you can, if you do want to stay friends with someone and have healthy conflict resolution in the future, to say, hey, like, what's the bigger picture here? And be proactive instead of reactive, perhaps. But yeah, I love my girlfriends to the day I die. I live and die by them. And having that revelation really like opened my eyes. But again, I'm like,
It's a sisterhood.
1,000%. Oh,
It really is.
Jackie, I'm gonna have a little swig of my whiskey. What?
Well, I'm gonna have a swig of mine. What a
What
conversation.
a
Man, at one
conversation.
point I was about to cry. I'm not even gonna lie.
Me too, because this is a very, when I say it's a serious conversation, but it's like, it's just the acknowledgement that you can experience something besides a romantic heartache and heartbreak.
Oh,
That's not the only way your heart can be broken, you know. It happens to the best of us.
it does.
I see you shuffling that deck. Are you ready to do some spellbounding?
Shuffling.
I think it's going to be so good today.
I I believe you.
I feel
I'm
it.
going back to my Murder of Crows tarot.
Ooh.
I know. I like to switch in and out. Every single time I find a dark deck of tarot cards, I'm like, let me get those.
When I go out and visit you, I have seen a few tarot decks out here, but I've got some questions. And so I am waiting to buy my first tarot deck when I go and see you. Like that is an experience
Oh, I
I
can't
want to
wait.
have with you.
Aw.
I want to share that with you and to be like,
Oh, I
when
love
and one
you.
of these days, I'm sure I will do the spellbound portion of this.
You
However,
will.
Oh my
It'll
God.
be so cute when you do
So
it.
cute.
I can't wait.
Can we find a sparkly deck? You know?
You can, as a
Yes.
matter of fact. I used to have
So,
an iridescent one, but that one felt like it needed to go to my daughter.
of course. Yeah, I'm gonna need that in my life. But the
So,
point is,
okay, so let me just tell you, let me warn you, sometimes the deck will tell you when you need to give it to somebody.
no doubt. And then I'll get a more fabulous deck.
You probably will.
Yes. But I want to, every time that I use my tarot deck, I want to then think of this happy memory of like, I was with Jackie when we bought this. Like, oh my
Yes, and you're
God.
gonna every time you pull it out, you're gonna be like, "Oh,
Remember that
okay."
time I was in Virginia at the metaphysical store?
Mhm.
Three knocks. Are you ready? I am
I'm
ready.
so ready.
My breath is bated.
Right? That's a good
Mm.
one. The first one's the hangman. So as soon as I see that, yeah, as soon as I see
Done.
a hanged man, I think vulnerability.
Oh.
I think sort of like the ending of a situation. So let's see what the card book. I love the book in this book specifically because it gives you a little story.
Ooh.
Your feet are bound and your body hangs in the void. You struggle to cry out, but the only answer is the mocking cry of the crows. In this place of loneliness, you still have yourself. Bide your time, let your bonds become your anchor. In the stillness of your unbound spirit flies free. From this new vantage point, the world may seem strange, but perhaps it was this way all along,
Maybe
right?
friends in the first place. Oh,
Vulnerability and a new point of view. So
and
like you just imagine like up like you walk around upright and this friendship, this ending flipped you over and now you have an entirely different viewpoint.
mm.
The second card is the 9 of Cups.
Mm.
And this has to do with acceptance.
Oh,
Yeah. Your guides and angels urge you to travel farther and plumb new depths. But the journey has also taught you much about striving for something and learning to experience the joy in what you find. You now know how to fulfill your passions and say thank you with and then it's just about satisfaction, bliss, and acceptance. I think mostly this is about very much about acceptance because we're talking about a new viewpoint. We've ended a relationship. We've accepted that this is what it is, and I think that that viewpoint is such a deep lesson learned. And then the final one is the 3 of Swords, but the 3 of Swords is upside down. So right side up, it's about heartache and treachery and holding on to old hurts.
mm-hmm.
But if it's flipping it upside down, it's more the opposite of that. It's the healing and the understanding that we don't have to hold on to these old pains. We can let this go.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of inconsolable sadness in the upright card. So the opposite, yeah, the opposite of that is like we've learned from this. We don't need to hold on to this inconsolable sadness. This is something that we can let go of, and we can, I think, understand like just the lessons that we've had to learn from these previous relationships and the new viewpoints that we've had come to us from these experiences.
Mm, those are
So, I
great.
mean, if you're going through it, learn the lesson,
Yeah.
get
Except
through it.
that let
There's
old
no way through this shit but through it.
through it is the way to go.
Yeah.
Ugh. Jackie, excellent spellbounding today.
Indeed. Indeed.
Fantastic.
Indeed. And if our listeners really want some healing, a little bit of a white candle, you
Mm-hmm.
know, get a white candle, light it with your intention of healing your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Really put your intention in lighting that white candle because it is very cleansing. Takes a few very long deep breaths, hold them and just release that pain. learn those lessons and take them with you into your next friendships.
You know, I was never much of a candle burner, and then I remember I Marco Polo'd you, and I was leaving the store with
With a
like a
case of them.
a
Yeah.
case of white like prayer candles. They're like, I was like, they're $1 each. Like, and you're like, write your intention on them. Like you're on the right path. But I was
Yep.
like,
Those
I
glass
just have a
church
white
candles,
candle.
those are
Yeah.
my favorite things. Write your intentions on the outside, what you're trying to cleanse, what you're trying to gain, but a white candle you can never ever go wrong with. If you're just wanting that a little bit of spiritual touch to whatever your intentions are, whatever your prayers are, whatever your focuses are, write those intentions on that white candle.
Mhm.
Feel them as you're writing them and then burn it. And just know as it burns, it's sending it out to God, Allah, whatever you believe in, the universe. It's sending it out there, and the universe is going to take care of it every single time. Every time.
Every time. What a great show, Jackie.
No.
So fantastic. Are you ready for our sizzle reel after show on Patreon?
I really want everybody to join our Patreon. Quite frankly, there's a lot of ex-lovers on our Patreon, so we're gonna need some of our ladies to join. It's like $4, you guys.
Yeah.
$4.
$4 a month for
And we have
Patreon.
all the that's where the cheese made. That's where the gossip. That's where the hot shit happens.
Oh my God, the tea is piping hot. So if you would like to join us on our Patreon, we will link that in the show notes below where you can get all the cheese made and early release of podcasts as well. So thank you once again for a fabulous episode of Whiskey Bent
Spellbound with black.
and Whitefield.
Love
Love
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.